Hey Frank, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I'm doing good. Hello, hello. Okay, let's adjust the camera a bit. There we go. Alright, we're just waiting for Melon to let me know when she's ready. I'll drop her a message. Ready when you are. Cool. Alright, how's everyone doing? And by everyone I mean just you, Frank, no one else is watching. Oh dear. What has the stream come to? Do you enjoy fantasy? Like fantasy books, fantasy stories? Because I've been getting really addicted to the Stormlight Chronicles by Bryan Sanderson. They're actually fucking amazing. It's so nice to just like plunge yourself into I'm lucky it's like a one-on-one. Yeah, exactly. You have me all to yourself. I do enjoy fantasy. Nice. Have you read the Stormlight Chronicles? I found it really hard to start them. Like the first it's one of those stories where in the first chapter you're introduced to a bunch of like new words and concepts that you aren't equipped to understand. And you just have to push through it. And if you do, there's a really cool story that unfolds afterwards. But because of that, I've had real trouble like getting hooked to it. I haven't. Okay. Well, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. Who knows how it goes? Right now I'm like a third into the second book. How many books are there? Let me double check. I'm not sure. Stormlight Chronicles. Stormlight Archive, sorry, that's the actual term for them. Okay, there's 4 books out right now, so I'm 1/3 of the way into the second one. Number of books, 4 published and 10 planned. Oh no. Oh no. Actually, you know what? I take that back. You don't read it. Don't get sucked into the next Song of Ice and Fire, where you fall in love with a story that will never get finished. Wait Wait for Brian Sanderson to actually publish the rest of the books. Do not make the same mistakes. It's actually like buying books in pre-release. Okay. Book 5 is supposed to come out in autumn 2023. Well, it's too late for me. Now that I've started reading it, I got sucked into it. There's no going back for me. Oh, here we go. Oh, I said here we go. Oh, yeah. Hey.
There.
Hello.
Hello, what's up? What's up? I had your stream on, so I was kind of getting confused at who was talking.
Okay, that makes sense.
You know how wait 1 second, 1 second. I want to test something.
Yeah, go ahead.
See if this works.
Is that where you're messing around? And again, I'm not going to spoil, but I see what you're playing, and
yeah. It's just you're spoiling right now, and I don't appreciate it.
I'm not spoiling. I didn't say it.
You are. You're spoiling right now, and it's very much not appreciated.
I can't spoil a melon. Melons are known for their for never spoiling, right?
Is that actually true?
No, not at all. They can rot really fast.
Oh,
are you a rotten melon?
I am very rotten.
Oh, rotten to the core.
Yep. Wait 1 second. Okay. This is okay. This will be scuffed as fuck or no? Let's find out. Okay. Let's try it.
Oh shit. Okay. Wait, I need to let me do this. Let me pop it out then. Do this.
I hope this works.
Wait, how do I? Oh yeah, like this. Now everyone can see you. Holy shit! It's so sad. It's so sad that that everyone's watching Better Call Saul. This is actually this is like the grand
shit.
Opening.
Advertising. Oh shit.
This is the grand opening of your VTuber.
VTube break live.
Yes. You should start up your stream. You actually have people that watch you that aren't from streams.
My stream?
Yeah.
That's that's too complicated. I didn't prepare for it.
What was that moan?
I was not prepared. That was not a moan. That was exasperation and fear.
Well, why is that what the sound I cause in women then?
Exasperation and fear?
Fear, yeah.
Maybe I should call the cops.
Maybe you should. All right.
I have like so much things to set up for OBS later, and then maybe I'll actually stream because I'm not sure if I can make it work properly in my stream. Okay. Because I have I don't know how to make it. Oh, hi Nat. Hi. I can't make it work properly. I don't know how to make it to show just the VTuber thing in Discord and then have my own thing set up for like OBS.
Okay.
So I have to work on that.
I think, and you can probably have OBS act like your Discord video input. I've seen people do that, so that would be one way. So like you capture VTube Studio in OBS, and then you have that you shoot that into Discord.
Yeah, but it shoots like a scene, right? It has like a scene source,
Yeah.
And I only so this one is I just did a random background, you know?
Yeah, which is very interesting. I want to say.
You like it?
I love how you mentioned getting eaten by people. Does that happen to you often?
My family gets eaten a lot. It's really? Constant genocide in my species.
Fascinating. And by
Kind of.
fascinating, I mean tragic.
Thank you. Very tragic.
Yeah.
It's really sad. Oh, the dogs. Yeah, you can probably hear that.
How many dogs do you have again?
There's only 2 dogs, and they're very loud. They're extremely loud.
Okay.
They love barking.
So
You'll probably hear them a few times. Okay, sorry. Continue.
no worries. So that brings me to the subject of today's Virgin Veranda, where
Wait, how does dogs lead to that? That's
because
the
you have
question.
2 dogs, you share your love. And
I share my
attention
love with 2
between
dogs. I'm
2
not that
dogs.
kind of love.
I hope not.
I'm not sure what people do in France, but we don't do that here.
We don't do that either.
Uh-huh.
There are many kinds of love. Do you not love your friends? Do you not love your family? Do you not love your dogs?
I do. You're right. That's
See?
very true.
Fucking owned her in this debate.
Okay, continue.
All right. So that brings us to today's subject. Polyamory, which as certified internet experts who have never experienced it, will tell you all you need to know about it.
Yes. Definitely.
Definitely.
My inexperience will be the light.
Yes. Episode on the dog pill. Oh dear. Yeah, maybe for next time. So what are you have you ever considered like being in a committed relationship with someone and then with someone else too?
I have in my previous relationship, only because I was under the suspicion that she would want to pursue other people. And I started to heavily consider in my head if it was something that I could try to get through with, because like, of course, I was in love with my partner, and I thought I'd love them enough that I'd be willing to try it, right? Unfortunately, I never got to that point or ever experienced it, but I've considered that idea, but I've never done it. Or I don't even consider it as something that would be good for me in general.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's something you wanted. It was just something you were, well...
Yeah, pretty much.
You felt forced to consider.
Yeah. Which is something to bring up in this podcast in a bit, I think. I think that's an interesting topic to explore.
You mean the
What about
feeling the need to try it out? Like I know forcefulness is the right word, but
well, I was gonna ask you first, like, have you thought about it? But I guess like my view for it seems like I consider polyamory to be like pretty good for certain people, like not for everybody. Some people can handle it really well, and it's like perfect, right? They don't deal with the jealousy as much. They're more comfortable sharing their love or meeting new people, and it works out with their relationships. Maybe there's conflict, just like any monogamous relationship, but it's fine. But I also think that not everybody can handle it, you know? Like, it's not for everybody. And I think there are some things that recently it's become very popular to try to get into your own polycule or something. And there's also, I wonder if a lot of people end up not entirely wanting to do it, but being forced into it because it seems like their partner, either because of power dynamics in a relationship, such as you have power dynamics in a relationship with one person earning a lot more, like a married couple that wants to explore polyamory, and you don't really have an option to say no, or other dynamics such as another person being so deeply in love with someone that they're basically being forced along into this relationship, right?
yeah.
So I think that it can be good for certain couples, but there's a lot of risks too, depending on the type of relationship that you have, where you end up led into a situation where someone goes into polyamory unwilling, and that can lead to disaster.
There's a lot of like disaster stories on r/relationships or raise your right hand. There you go. On r/relationships about people, like you said, feeling forced to get into some kind of polyamory relationship or like opening up the relationship and stuff like that, and then suddenly realizing that they actually are jealous. They aren't comfortable with their partner. Usually it comes in the form of their partner having much more success than them. Show left foot. Guys, the Discord flips the camera, okay? That's all that's going on. I haven't bothered tweaking that. I am from the...
Oh yeah, it flips it for the person. Like, mine's is flipped for me.
I am from the parallel universe. You're talking to parallel name, Manon.
The parallel universe called France.
But yeah, you were gonna ask me, right, the same question, like what's my experience with it?
Or like, have you considered it as like an option?
Definitely. I'm not a very jealous person in the traditional sense. Like, I could feel compersion, which I don't know if that word's actually used in English, but it's a word commonly thrown around in French when talking about polyamory. It's the pleasure you feel from seeing someone you love take pleasure with someone else. It's not quite cuckolding, because cuckolding has a very specific humiliation angle to it in the fetish, at least the way it's represented in porn or online in general. Compersion is compassionate. There's no humiliation involved. You're feeling through what the other person is feeling, and so you're sharing in the pleasure of a sexual encounter. You're not seeking humiliation or some kind of a power dynamic going on. That's something that I identify with, honestly. Not that I've ever had the chance to explore it. The closest I got, I guess, that situation, I was not comfortable with. It was at a time when, in one of my previous relationships, when the relationship was kind of falling apart, a couple months before we broke up, she no longer felt desire for me. We were no longer having sex. And I was horny. And I lost the capability, I guess, to not bring it up. So I would bring it up. That was something that like grew the rift in the relationship in hindsight. That I wasn't able to be patient on that aspect. But anyways, I did mention at some point. I asked her what she would think if I had sex with other people. And she said yes, but she wouldn't want to know about it. It would have to be like, she was okay with it, but just she didn't want anything to do with it. Which goes against what I just described. It wouldn't be sharing an experience with her. It would be done in spite of the relationship, not as something to add to the relationship. So in the following weeks, I thought about it a lot. And I realized it wasn't actually what I wanted. First off, it wouldn't fix the problems in our relationship. The way I imagined it, the way I wanted it to be, would be, like I said, adding to a relationship, having a healthy relationship, and then if we both feel like it, exploring other experiences that could add to what we share, rather than using it like as a band-aid or a mask to hide what problems are happening. So yeah, wasn't also, I guess in general, on dating sites, I do put in that I'm open to poly relationships usually, but I found that at least in my personal experience, that leads to most people on dating sites already are in the churn of different profiles and matching with different people, talking with plenty of different people, constantly looking for the next person that's gonna be better, that's gonna like make their heart race, their get the passion running, etc., etc. All that stuff we are genuinely looking for, some kind of connection.
Mm-hmm.
But that also, I feel like already, even if you're in a monogamous mindset, dating apps are not conducive to really giving people a chance. Someone might make you like laugh, and you're looking forward to messaging them and to date with them one week, and the next week it's someone else, and the week after that it's yet another person, and so on and so forth.
I totally get that. And I think like same thing could be said for like meeting people like in Discord too, which happens a lot. Like you're constantly finding new people to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I guess like the online like dating sphere kind of leads to people searching for other options a lot more than it used to.
Yeah.
Because like, and I feel like in real life you usually stay with the same groups, right? The people that you work with, your original friend group from high school, or buddies from like a club or something, and you don't really explore your options as much as you did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
While online, your sphere of talking to people has grown exponentially.
Absolutely.
And it leads to like, I feel like it leads to a lot more people searching for something else instead of like being happy with what they have. I don't know how true that is.
Well, then what I feel is that it's hard. I feel like going into an encounter that started off online with a poly mindset.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually are looking for a committed relationship, because obviously polyamory or polygamy, whichever one you go for, they absolutely can work with a committed relationship. It's just harder. I feel like it's absolutely possible. It's just more difficult. There's more. I guess it's harder to establish the initial trust, which is already difficult to establish when you're dealing with someone you met online.
Yeah.
I'm just going to respond to Jeremy. Would you say the problem wasn't that you were wanting sex, but that you were wanting sex with her in hindsight? Yeah, that is a really a good way of putting it. Absolutely. She was the one I wanted to be with, not and I had like a lover that
So for you, like
then,
having that connection with the partner that you're with is way more important than actually just going out and having sex.
Yeah, if I'm in love with someone, they're the person I want to be with. Like,
I know
that's why.
some people can separate like the love from the sex, right?
Yeah, and I think I can. Or maybe I can't. Maybe actually I can't. But because I can't see myself like going off to have sex with someone else. But like I said, it's then I would want to share the experience with my partner, or at least not have to hide it. At the very least, not have to like pretend that we're monogamous or etc.
Yeah. Not keep it a secret.
Yeah. I feel like that's like I don't know. Have you heard of the book The Ethical Slut?
I have not.
It's a book that's quoted a lot in like feminist poly circles. It's supposed to be the like guidebook to how to be, well, an ethical slut. And it I haven't actually read it. I've only read like excerpts or seen what people like the people synthesizing what it says. But it seems like the main message really is just openness and honesty, and obviously consent. But like consent is just something you need in any relationship. Openness and honesty, even more so than in other relationships, in the sense that your partners and you should have very, very clear boundaries, very, very clear understandings of what it is that is okay and isn't okay in how you seek out other partners, etc., etc.
Do they have like a clear like guideline of what is okay or not, or it just depends on the type of relationship?
My understanding is it's pretty freeform. It's up to you and your partners to decide what kind of relationships you want. Because there are many different kinds, right? You can have like people often think of it as a main couple, and then they're open to like lovers on the side, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But there are, like you said, you mentioned polycules. There are polycules where people try to have very equal power dynamics between all the lovers.
Yeah.
You can have like a trio of people that pursue, well, like romantic relationships in a triangle, stuff like that, or more if you want to complicate things even more.
I wonder how crazy these things. I wonder what's like the biggest type of polycule that someone has created. You know, like 5, 6,
But
8 people together.
should look up the Guinness Book of Records. Who's the biggest
You think
polycule
they'd
in the
have
world?
that?
Yeah. Sometime in the next 20 years, someone will be like, we are a group of 50 people who have orgies every day.
We have our own town that's all together.
Yeah.
By that point, it's almost like a cult.
A constant conga line of like a human
Conga
centipede of
line?
sex.
That sounds wild.
Yeah,
Just
it sounds
giant
amazing.
orgies every night.
Honestly, it's interesting that you brought up the cult thing, because I think you cock a line, yeah. I think you saw I think you were there when I talked a week or two ago about the invitation I had to Polycule's like orgy nights.
Yeah, you did. You told me about that.
Yeah, and there's something I didn't mention because it's just really like a feeling I got. But I can't shake it off. And I was thinking about it today again because the woman who like messaged me again and proposed, like invited me to another night. There are like small elements in the polycule that make me, I don't know if I'm being too sensitive about it or not, make me afraid that there's some kind of culty thing going on. And it's just that there's this one guy that's at the center of it. So I'm saying this because the woman I matched with, she had this guy in her photos. Then there's this other woman I matched with who's a part of that polycule too, who also has this guy in her photos. But there's it's supposed to be open, right? It's supposed to be like plenty of different people, but it's the same guy on those two women's profiles. And then in the recent invitation, she mentioned that since he was exceptionally in Paris, they would do a night. So it's like they only do them if he's there. And I don't know. I can't shake off this feeling
That's weird.
Yeah, not necessarily at the end of the day, if like whatever makes them happy, you know, whatever power dynamic is there. And what really stopped me is like the fact that I would have to meet them in person in like a non plenty of people that I don't know, non-orgy situation, just to get to know them. I
That's
don't feel.
weird for you?
Hmm?
That's weird for you, just like seeing them, just having like a conversation with them?
Yeah, before jumping in, I asked her how it worked, and she did say that normally people show up like a bit early and they talk for like an hour or two, maybe drink a
Is
bit,
that
eat a
good
bit.
though? Because like you'd want to like get comfortable with the people that you're like
Yeah,
having an orgy with. That doesn't
exactly.
seem bad.
That doesn't seem bad, but I got really anxious when I started when
I mean, yeah, sure.
I got
That's
really
fair.
anxious. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, but it does seem like a fun time if it is what it's supposed to be.
It does seem like with polyamorous relationships or polycules, especially when there's more than 2 or 3 people, there definitely can be power dynamics. I feel like it would be really hard for everyone to be like equal. So I guess it's not totally strange having like, I guess, like one kind of quote unquote leader in the pack, you know? Like someone
Alpha
that
male.
like people, yeah, alpha male in the community, because there's no way that all of them can equally have the same type of dynamic. Someone's going to end up being a little bit more dominant or more empowered than the others.
You have two wolves inside you. one of them is leading a polycule, and the other one is a prude monogamous wolf.
Jeremy says, I don't think I could do anything more than a monogamous relationship. Feel like I'd get super jealous and fixated on just one person. Yeah, I don't think I could do poly as well. I feel like monogamous relationship and is like as far as it can go, and I think that's okay. I don't think like you have to try to change like what you want or who you are to like fit like someone else, right? Or just in general.
If you don't feel
Monogamous is
comfortable,
like totally
sorry.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable with the idea of opening up the relationship in any way whatsoever, and your partner isn't comfortable in a monogamous relationship, honestly, your relationship is not going to work out. Like you both want different things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's just like even if you feel like you can handle it, it just might not be good for your relationship too. And it's not good to force it into somebody that's not really willing, because it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of it can be like very emotionally taxing, I think, for someone that can't handle it.
Yeah. There is a big distinction though, polygamy and polyamory, right? Very, very different things.
Explain.
Well, polygamy is just being open to having sex with different people outside, but you're emotionally committed to the one person you're with, like your significant other, and then you have sex with others. Whereas polyamory is, well, amory is love. You're actually in love with different people at the same time.
Yeah,
So
I see.
it's about whether it's just sexual openness or whether it's also emotional openness in the relationship.
Yeah.
Do you feel like one would be easier than the other, or like possible to consider, or are they both off the charts?
I guess polygamy can be easier than polyamory relationships, but I don't think that either of them are very easy. I guess the idea of like, let's say, partner has sex with someone without the emotion doesn't feel as bad as just like, with the emotion in it. I think the emotion adds like a different type of factor that makes it a little bit like harder to handle. Because then you could like let's say your partner has sex with someone else, but to them it's just sex. It doesn't feel as bad, right? Because they still fully love you, they still like you. It's easier to handle in my head compared to like they probably love this person as equally as you, and the jealousy would like hurt a lot more for me.
Have you this is a really personal question. Don't feel like you need
No, I
to
sure.
answer it, but have you ever had someone cheat on you?
Oh, my ex cheated on me. Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of. Yeah. It was so. I found out after we broke up. She, I guess, like, kind of had a sexual relationship with one of my friends, and that kind of betrayal like hurt a lot. But I think like what hurt even more too was the exchanges of actual like love between the two, like I love yous, like romance part with that like sexual feeling ends up like it like it sticks to your mind, and that like it's really hard to like live with. It's really hard to get over. um it feels yeah, it was very difficult for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if she actually cheated on me or not, but I have an ex who really broke my heart a couple of years ago. She'd been getting more and more distant, especially she played in she was a musician. She played in a batucada, which is like a Brazilian marching band, percussion. and it would probably do a number on my feelings of self-worth. Yeah, that kind of shit
Oh
really
yeah,
hurts you.
yeah. It definitely lowered my self-worth a lot. Made it kind of difficult to like trust for a bit, and maybe I still deal with a little bit of trust issues because of
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it really lowers your confidence.
yeah.
It's it like it does a lot of damage. Sorry, continue.
No worries. I'm the one who went and read that message.
Mhm.
Yeah, she basically she'd been getting more and more distant. I finally kind of forced the thing because she didn't even want to see me at towards the end. Like she was just avoiding, like really passive aggressively. She was avoiding even going on dates with me. But she and her percussion band was playing at on a boat near where I lived, so I just went to see her at the boat. She told me not to go, and I just went there anyways. And it started off with when I saw her on the boat, and I went onto the boat. I like went in to kiss her, and she dodged the kiss. And there
Ooh,
was like there were like people around, so I didn't press the matter. But I later at some point when we were in the crowd, I pressed it. In the crowd, I pressed it, and then she kissed me, and then she like smiled at me, and she told me not to worry. And then at the end of the night, basically, she took me aside and told me that she had fallen in love with one of the band members.
wow.
So she didn't want to kiss me, who'd been her boyfriend for like months. I think we had been together for like 6, 7 months at that point. She didn't want to kiss me in front of that band member, or
That's
like let him know that she was with someone, that she had a boyfriend. So at the time, I hadn't realized, but as weeks went by, I realized she very likely cheated on me with him, or like something was had to have been happening between them.
Um, what's worse, like I guess knowing what happened or like not knowing? Would you prefer like do you like the idea that you never found out? Or
No. And I think the worst for me was the month and a half of the relationship slipping out of my hands
Mhm.
because she was too much of a coward to just come out and tell me like I'm no longer I'm in love with someone
Yeah.
else and break it off. I really do resent her for like I had to force her to break up with me and she no longer loved me, which is insane. Um,
Wow.
and it hurt. Like you were talking about self-worth, the spending like a month and a half of every day thinking of your the person you love and wondering why they don't want to see you, why are they avoiding you, why are they
Mhm.
not responding to your messages, having that anxiety built up.
Yeah.
It kind of twisted me in a way where I've realized in relationships since then, um, it's it's it also twisted me because that's a trait I already have normally, but it only exacerbated my emotional insecurity, where I do have that anxiety show up when someone I love, doesn't respond to me, or uh, stuff like that. And I try really hard. I put in a lot of work not to be needy, not to be that person who's
Yeah.
like clingy, etc. I don't think I am Winter clingy, but when relationships start going bad, it brings all those bad experiences from my past. They just come back in, and I actually do become clingy, honestly. And which just makes the situation worse, right? Because the relationship's already on rough ground, which makes me anxious, which makes me not be able to um like give breathing space the way I should. Something I'm
I
trying to work
totally
on,
get
but
that.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. I was just saying, yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Um a lot of like you bringing up the period before you find out is so true. A lot of things change suddenly, like the love that they had before or the like things that they showed suddenly like switch, and it's really hard to understand why it's happened, and it causes a lot of anxiety. For me, it was like we were very committed to how our relationship was going, and suddenly plans changed. She didn't feel like moving in anymore. She spent a lot of time talking to people like at night for hours and end, like, and it was like behaviors that I didn't see before. And now in like my new relationship, it's really hard to not it's really hard to not, you know, fall like see like different trends change and be like, oh, something's happening, you know.
Yeah.
I have to like tell myself that, like, you know, that I'm just dealing with something from like a past relationship and I shouldn't bring that into this one, but it can be difficult sometimes.
It is. Also, I want to say your VTuber avatar looks so sad while we were having this discussion. I'm so sorry.
My VTuber avatar is about to cry.
Aww. Yeah, Winter's telling me, from what you're explaining, it's also easy for it to seem obsessive. Yeah, honestly, because in more recent relationships, I've had the situation where my partner was the clingier one than me, and that was eye-opening to also see it from the opposite perspective of how someone being like clingy or obsessive with you is a huge mood killer. It really, really, really makes you want to kind of avoid them for a minute, just to like have you like protect your personal space.
That's as someone that has probably been the mood killer, it's something that's kind of it's something that's kind of hard to like deal with, because like,
I know.
you know, you have like this like clingy issue, and you know that it's not good for the relationship's health, right? You know that your partner seeing this in you is not a good thing, right? And it's not something to have, but it's something. And like, it's like I guess like you have to kind of stop yourself, right, from doing something that your body's kind of urging you to do.
Yeah.
But that in and of itself like hurts you. So it's like it's difficult. And I guess I feel for other people that like, I guess, feel like this overprotection for their relationship, or like this anxious feeling, because I could kind of, I understand now like what it feels like. But yeah, I think about it being a mood killer a lot. It's like, oh crap, I wish I didn't have to like be this way. It feels really bad.
It does, yeah. I hate myself when I do it too, because like you're aware of yourself doing it when you're doing it too, but you can't. It's so much harder to express self-control. Like you can be so socially astute when it comes to friendships and like handling normal social situations, but when you're actually in love with someone, oh god, your head like almost blew up.
The emotions that you feel in a relationship can be sometimes really overwhelming.
Yeah.
That like, you know exactly what you need to do, what's the right move, but it's really hard to do. And it's not something that you can really like understand until you experience it yourself. I think like experience goes a long way in like understanding why people act a certain way, because sometimes you could look at a clingy person, you could look at someone that's like depressed, and you just like, you could like, I guess like intellectually like say, yeah, I get this person's sad, but until you actually experience it, it's a whole different story. You really don't know what that person's dealing with. And yeah. I think like with my last relationship, I think it made it a lot easier to understand like struggles people go through that I didn't know before. It was really eye-opening. Not really in the best way, but I still kind of value that new experience that I got from it.
Yeah, I agree with you too. That like I think every relationship we have makes us grow, and I've been thinking about it too, because like I have things from my exes that I hold on to, that I cherish a lot, like a T-shirt maybe, or or like the stuff like that, and that a lot of people look down, well, at least on the internet, they like look down on having connections with your exes. Like, you're not supposed to think about them. You're not supposed to have any feelings for them. You're supposed to be, they're supposed to be dead to you. That's not how I want to live my life. Every experience I've had with them, positive or negative, they continue to live on with me, and they make me who I am. And I'd rather cherish what I had, accept that it's gone, of course, but cherish it.
Especially when someone cheats too, it can be very easy to vilify the other person, when in reality their issues can be not really out of malicious intent, but lack of control in their part, or a lack of something that, like, impulse control or some issue that they are dealing with too. Like, for my ex, I have pretty much forgiven. I'm good friends with her despite everything. Don't have any romantic feelings anymore, but I still value the friendship that I've had, like, despite the hardships that I went through. And I'm glad that I do have that friendship. And I understand, like, I guess I also understand the type of struggles that she went through in that situation, that it's not just like she's a bad person and did it like it's more like she did a bad thing, but she's not really a bad person.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really bad partners, but they're still good people.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with that.
I myself, I obviously I haven't ever had a relationship last longer than like a year, so I'm definitely not a good partner. But I don't think I'm a bad person either.
Maybe we just haven't found,
Yeah.
right.
At 32, at some point, you gotta also take a look back and realize
Sure.
that the only common thing in all those relationships was you. You know what I mean?
True.
Of course, like a
What
couple.
have you learned about yourself then through those relationships
Oh, a lot of things.
that you feel has been like negative, like solely like not helpful? And have you worked on it?
Well, if it's something that I was doing wrong or that was negative in me, then obviously it was helpful. I mean, but you mean that facet of me that was not helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I think every single relationship I've had gave me things to think about and to work on. The way I like to think about it, a lot of people, and this show is no different. A lot of people like to talk about relationships. It's really easy when someone has problems for them to talk to you, and you're looking in from neutrally from the outside in, and you can give them advice. And usually your advice will be decent. More often than not, it will be better than what they themselves can come up with, because, like we said, all those emotions are churning inside you, and it's like intoxicating. You can't think straight. But at the end of the day, as much as we're capable of learning from others, whether it's from their advice, their when they teach you, when they write books, etc., etc., I don't think you can learn to be in a relationship from others. You have to make the mistakes yourself.
I totally agree. Sorry, I
It's
cut you off.
no, you didn't. I was just gonna like add on to it. Like, it's not something because I've had people tell me you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing that, like this, or I tell them like mistakes I made, and they're like, wow, that was really bad. Yeah, that was really bad. I had to do it. It's the kind of person I am, where the emotions and the ideas I had, just I had to make those mistakes. I don't feel. Regrets are supposed to be what you look back at your life and you would have done differently. I cannot look back at any of my relationships and regret them simply because I can't imagine myself being that same person in that same situation and doing anything differently.
You did what you knew at the time and what you like understood about yourself at the time.
Yeah, even if it was really dumb. but I did it.
Even if it was dumb, yeah, but like you learn from that, and that's like new experience you could gain for the future.
Yeah.
Like whether the experience was bad or not. I agree. I think like people can tell you as much things as possible, say this and that, oh, this is bad for you. This you shouldn't do this, right? But like you really won't actually understand until you experience. Like
Yeah.
you see a lot of people online too that are like, oh, you have anxiety? Just go outside, Lamau. Just like take a walk, right? Oh, you're depressed? Just like breathe fresh air, you know? Because they don't really understand like what it is to go through something like that.
Yeah. Or
like,
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, continue.
I didn't want to cut you off. I was just gonna say like specifically for relationships, the classic thing on r/relationships, you go into a thread and it's all a bunch of people telling like someone to leave their partner because like their dog shit in the yard or something dumb like that. Or it's like, what the fuck, you dump his ass. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's so fucking drastic.
Yeah.
Over like any like small little thing, like they haven't experienced a relationship before. Well, maybe they probably haven't. But like, there's two things that I want to bring up. Well, one of them is like the experience of like depression, that like something that like I was only able to experience, like I like being able to understand like that from being depressed myself has been like super eye-opening. I'm really glad I got that experience. Like, which is like a weird thing to say, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like the pain that I got from like my being like, I guess, brokenhearted and like cheated on, like opened up like myself to experiencing like a lot of struggles that people go through with like overwhelming emotions, right? That has helped me a lot. For instance, like not I guess serious topic, warning for people, but like after like the relationship ended, a lot of times like I would feel like a sense like overwhelming like sadness, and it was hard to get rid of it, that I would try to find like different ways to like get it out of my system. And one of them I found was using a rubber band, and I would like smack my arm, and that pain that I would get from that would shock myself enough to like feel okay for like that moment. So it felt really, so it ended up being like really nice to do at the moment because my emotions were very overwhelming at the time. And it opened up to me understanding why people self-harm in general. Like I could kind of like logically think of it, why people do it, but I never really like experienced, you know, that feeling. And it's like, for most of my life, I've always been like, I don't understand why people would like harm themselves like that. I just, like, I get being like depressed, but I can't see myself like physically hurting myself because that pain would like suck. But like, I get it now.
Yeah.
And I could see how that pain could end up like feeling good in general in the future, because like that dopamine you get from it, it's like a Pavlovian response to the pain, you know, and then feeling good after. Yeah.
So what you're saying now is that you've discovered you're into BDSM?
I mean, pain isn't always bad, you know?
Yeah.
With pain comes pleasure.
Exactly. Get here, slave.
I like that I could change my I have to change my my avatar's face to show people that I'm actually happy at the moment. Otherwise, I'm laughing and my avatar is crying.
Yeah. I wonder, I guess this is off topic, but it's actually really interesting to me. Isn't there a way of rigging it to to trigger on like facial expressions?
Oh, probably, but I've only just like gotten it like yesterday, so I'm not entirely sure. But that would be cool if I could just like hands off change expressions based on like my mouth movements. That would be so awesome.
I see.
I don't know how they would read my sadness though. I feel like when I'm sad, my face doesn't change that much. Maybe I'm like resting sad face though. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe. Or yeah. Probably would have to like exaggerate like mouth
Yeah, like
shape and stuff.
super exaggerate.
Yeah.
I know I could use my eyes and exaggerate my eyes to make it like
yeah, maybe
really
yeah.
sad.
Like half-lidded eyes.
Yeah.
Aw. Don't cry, Melon.
And then I have like
oh shit, the XD. Oh, the pout! Oh no! Cute pout.
There. Okay. Sorry.
No problem, no worries. Yeah, going back to the subject, it's definitely, the pout is so good. Yeah, the pout is really good.
The pout is really good.
Pouts are justice. No, flat is no longer justice, it's pouts.
True.
Melon can testify. You, if there ever is like a harassment scandal around me, it's about me sending Melon like 50 million anime pout faces.
Our DMs are literally just like spam of pout faces from now on, man. Literally.
I'm confessing. I'm a sex pest. Or a pout pest. Sorry, a pout pest. Yeah. No. Oh shit. When the whole thing with experiences too is something that I feel is really important in and outside of well, in relationships in general. It's how it's weird because it also touches on sort of some like SJW talking points of I don't mean SJW in like a derogatory way. It's just to like simplify because everyone knows what I'm talking about then. It's often discussed that if you don't have a specific identity, if you don't have a specific experience, then you have no way of understanding what other people are going through. When I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. You can have a much smaller experience, and then that smaller experience gives you like a basis from which you can imagine, okay, obviously you don't have their exact experience, but you had this experience of being bullied or oppressed, if we're talking about, for example, different identities being oppressed, and you can imagine that like 100 times worse. Obviously you won't have the exact same experience, but you can relate to it, and I think it's really important on an individual level, just like from human being to human being, to see things not as distinctions that separate us, but rather to see the bridges that we can build between our experiences, that we're not just isolated black boxes, islands of consciousness, lost, like completely isolated from each other. We can actually connect and meaningfully understand other people's experiences.
Oh, sure.
As long as you have something to start from, to build that experience from.
Because you could definitely understand someone's experience in something, even if you don't experience yourself, or like tiny little moments of sadness, can understand what depression could feel like, or like like how relationships work too. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And that's why the experiences are so valuable, because I don't feel like those are things you can really make someone understand. They really need to have that some kind of starting point in their own memories and their own experiences.
They do. I think that's important for people to like try to get some. Well, no, that actually sounds bad. Never mind. I shouldn't say that.
Try to get some. Everyone wants to
Try to
get
get some.
some.
No, not get some. Try to get some experience. But I mean, you'll just get it in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just go out and have relationships, forehead. It's that easy.
Just
You heard
find
from
a
Melon.
relationship.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of finding relationships, once we have state mandated, state assigned GFs, will we have
Pog!
enough Pog? Will we
Let's
have
go!
enough for harems? Can we go the poly route, or will it have to be monogamous?
Oh, monogamous for sure. Or
Yeah,
no, harem route. That's the dream.
that's the dream. Okay. Oh wait, so you're okay with poly, but only if if it's a harem. I see how it is.
No, I couldn't. I honestly like. I'd feel too bad. I'd feel like really bad because I'd care too much about like one person, right? And like I know that if I was in their situation, the way I act in towards things is like I think of it from like if I was in their position, would I be okay with this? And if I wouldn't be, then I wouldn't want to do that. So yeah, I don't think I'd be okay with harem. Wait, but how do you get an assigned GF? Am I forced into conscription? Am I like I have to go in to be someone's GF now? Is that how it works?
Probably, yeah.
What if your state assigned GF is ugly? Uh-oh, that's a good question. What then?
Well, I don't think the incels that unironically argue for this shit have considered that option.
Have they actually unironically fought for this position?
As I fought for, I don't think that's fair to say, because like incels aren't really a movement. They aren't. It's not a coherent group, but it's
people in general, or some people.
It's a post I've seen on like incel online communities for sure, arguing that the solution to the power inequality between the fact that women are the providers of sex and have a monopoly on sex. The solution to that would be would be the state to step in and force women to have sex with men in traditional, it goes into like the whole traditional conservative conception of relationships, that a long time ago you would have arranged marriages, and obviously their idea is that progressive ideas have ruined that and are threatening to dismantle society because of that. Sounds like they would love to live in Afghanistan or any other country where arranged marriages from childhood are acceptable. Absolutely. And didn't you see a tweet from Dinesh D'Souza, or maybe not Dinesh? It was someone else. Like one of those like American conservative grifters tweeted like, oh no, it was Fuentes. It was fucking Fuentes. Nick Fuentes said, "Wow, I have so much in common with the Taliban."
Oh my god, he actually
said it, yeah.
Holy crap.
At least he's aware of it, because like, a lot of those people will deny it if you try to point it out to them. But yes,
same thing like with like conservatism and like dress codes for women, right? Like you can't wear this or you look like a slut or something. It's like very, very in line with like the dress code that people see in like Middle Eastern countries where they have to wear like full-on garbs and stuff to protect themselves. It's like, but they don't notice that connection.
No, yeah. It's God forbid they'd realize, understanding that different cultures do the same things, but they appear differently. That's like cultural Marxism. That's like trying. That's postmodernism. That's trying to understand cultures as in like relative ways. Oof. Peterson's having a fit right now, listening to us.
Do you think he'd listen to us? I can only dream.
I can only dream as well. Someday Peterson will be part of my harem in the future Marxist sex utopia.
Maybe you'd be part of his. Who knows?
Oh, maybe I would. Yeah, he is an older man. It feels like he would own me.
There would definitely be power dynamics for sure.
Yeah. I actually had something on subject I had thought about earlier to talk about, but completely escapes me at this point.
Totally forgot.
Yeah.
There's one thing, I guess I could bring this up, this random factoid that I was gotten. I was talking with a friend recently, and by recently, I mean like a month or two ago, about like how they were exploring like polyamory. They thought that polyamory would be perfect for them. And they mentioned something like, it's like, it's more natural, like monogamy, like polyamory is more natural compared to monogamy. Monogamy was only invented like 10,000 or 20,000 years ago. And I kind of looked it up because it's like, is that really true? And I guess genetic studies say that yes, 10,000, 20,000 years ago, so monogamy was created, or sometimes paleontologists say otherwise. Maybe it was a lot earlier, but it's kind of interesting. It seems more like they evolved into monogamy. I don't know if that's the right word for it. To help like certain things, like for instance, like within group conflicts would happen a lot, and some groups would have benefits from monogamy because they wouldn't have to deal with the same type of conflicts that polyamorous like groups would in the past, and that helped them succeed more or like live longer versus like another group. Like they didn't have to deal with like conflicts within their own group. I thought it was kind of interesting.
It is, yeah. I hadn't thought of researching like the anthropological origins, which would have been a really interesting thing actually to talk about, because
yeah,
like off the top of my head, I really hadn't thought of it, but that's actually fascinating. Because off the top of my head, there's like a million different ways of organizing relationships in human groups that we've seen exist in various more or less primitive tribes, and we have historical traces of them too.
Yeah. There's a lot of like things that talked about like the reasons for someone who would switch for monogamy or versus polyamory. Well, or like the reasons why humanity would still succeed with polyamory in general. For instance, like one of the main concerns that people faced was it takes a long time before humans are capable of taking care of themselves, right? You need time for the brain to develop. The baby's outside of the womb unprotected for a while, but you don't necessarily need like a father figure with the mother to protect them. You also can have the community to be there to raise the kid. So it's not really so much a concern of biology to be monogamous, you know?
Yeah. Well, there actually is this tribe. I don't remember the name. I remember reading that story where they had like a very primitive understanding of the biology behind making children. But they basically what they codified was that when like they had monogamous relationships in that a woman would and a man would form a family unit. But when a woman was like, I don't remember if it was when she was already pregnant or when she wanted to be pregnant. But in one of those two situations, she would start being like, she would like get gangbanged by all the men in the village, basically.
What the? What is this?
Well,
yeah, I'm intrigued.
Well, that's it. She would basically have sex with. It would be like, kind of like a ritual thing, and.
So they don't know who. Wait, what? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it was about childcare too, like you're saying. So you don't know who necessarily is the father. But if I recall correctly, the article I was reading described it as them just never having really explored entirely the causality that you could have a child by just having sex with one guy, that you didn't need to have sex with every guy. So, but they're just like, fuck it, have have everyone coom and they'll have it.
It's wild.
Yeah, I imagine that their parties are pretty wild. Yeah.
Oh, is this like one of those modern day tribes that haven't like reached technology that are like isolated?
And I read that article a long time ago. I have no way of knowing. It definitely was one of those tribes that was discovered at some point in the 20th century. Are they still like isolated? I have no clue.
Who knows?
Who knows? Do you want to join them? Does that story interest you?
No.
I'm sorry. But yeah, the childcare thing is very interesting for sure. A lot of people do. There's a lot of really good arguments for us reverting. Doesn't matter whether poly or mono relationships, but just reverting to community-based childcare system where like there's different ways of where you can break it down, where perhaps like the older people who are retired, they can still contribute to society. They can look over the children of several families, stuff like that. Well, yes and no, because looking over children is actually a really big fucking tiresome job, and maybe retired people just want to chill. But yeah, I mean I think the closest I can think of in the modern context, without going like back to primitive tribes, is the I guess the kibbutz in Israel. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
Basically, you have a bunch of families living in a single building together, and they have a very yes. Oh shit, the player's bugging out. Oh yeah, we're back. We're back. Angel Thump. Restart player if it's bugging out. Alright. I'll wait like 10 seconds. Angel Thump. I love how you spell out your the emote you're gonna type in
I always do that. Like, it's a bad habit.
I just love that you say it in this like monotonous voice, like Angel Thump. That's very, very Angel Thumpy of you.
Very Angel Thump. Wag.
Wag. All right, we're back. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the kibbutz. So for example, you would have
audio.
No audio. Wait a second. Have you tried restarting the reloading the window? Yeah, let me
try it.
Same. Have you tried reload? Uh-oh. Okay, let me unmute the tab. Oh no. It actually, okay.
It's actually gone. Huh?
It's actually gone. Oh shit.
Oh no.
Oh no. Okay, I'm restarting